to save humanity billions of hours by helping them to do better work and less busy work. And so that's our goal. That's what we hope that we can share with you guys today, is how to save a little bit of time, use that time for higher impact, higher value activities. First, a little background on myself. Early in my career, I got involved with real estate and construction, and had great success in those areas. And about 15 years ago, I made a major career shift and got into technology. And for any of you that have made a similar shift in your careers, moving from a construction field to technology is not an easy one. I literally had to go from owning a business to working in tech support and getting paid like $12 an hour. But I went through it because I knew that this was an area that I wanted to get involved with. Worked with several technology companies here in Utah, and got my first start in AI about 6 or 7 years ago with a company doing computer vision and machine learning on aerial imagery. We would fly airplanes with giant cameras over cities, taking pictures and then pulling data from those pictures using computers. And we were able to turn processes that were taking people 2 or 3 hours into processes that our computers could do in 2 or 3 minutes. And so I started to recognize the power of AI and the tools that were being built at that time. But AI wasn't as big then as it is now. AI certainly is having a moment right now. Since ChatGPT released publicly a few years ago, I think we've now put AI within grasp of most of the population, and we've certainly seen an explosion there. I want to talk just a little bit about AI, and I think many of you are probably familiar with AI or artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is essentially technology where we are able to train computers and machines to do tasks that typically in the past were done by humans. At the base level, that's AI. We talk about AI as if it's one thing. And the reality is that AI is as different as the number of jobs that people do, maybe even more so. AI can refer to quite literally millions of different things. And so we're going to focus on a couple of things today that we do at Thynk. And I think it's good. We'll start with a little bit of fun. When I was in business school, we had a professor that would show a cartoon like this every class period, and he would read it with these fun voices. I'm not going to do that today, but in your mind, you can imagine some voices here. Wally, I need you to head up our artificial intelligence project. You will have no budget and no hope of success. I just like saying that we're working on AI. And you're completely useless, so it's a good match. I won't let you down. The reality is that this kind of embodies the sentiment that a lot of companies have had over the last year or two, where they're thinking like, we've got to have AI, right? Just like the old Got Milk campaign, right? We've got AI. Do we have AI, guys? If we don't have AI, we're wrong. We're doing something wrong. We've got to have AI. And it didn't matter if it worked. It didn't matter if it was functional. It didn't matter if it actually did anything. We just needed to be able to say we have AI. Well, those times are starting to change. And it's becoming more and more important for businesses to be able to use AI in practical and useful ways. And so I want to talk about what's happening in the world in terms of AI right now. 83% of companies this year are considering AI a top priority as part of their business strategy. Welcome, guys. Come on in and grab a seat. So 83% of companies are saying, hey, there's something here, right? We need AI. We need to have AI in our business, but we need it to be strategic. 58% of companies are planning to increase their investments in AI in 2025. So more than half of companies are saying, hey, let's put more money into this. That actually surprised me. That number is a little lower than I expected. I thought it would be higher than 58%. 64% of businesses believe that AI will increase their overall productivity. 50% increase in sales leads for companies using AI, and a 60 to 70% reduction in call times. 62% of companies report that AI has significantly improved their customer service. And one more stat, 44% of AI adopters have experienced reduced operational costs. And so the numbers don't lie. The numbers tell us that there is something here. This is not a passing fad. This is not something that is going to be here today and gone tomorrow. But AI is becoming similar to the internet, similar to cell phones, similar to smartphones. where it's something that we will have. It is in some ways being thrust upon us and we don't even have the choice. But very quickly it will become the type of technology that when we don't have it, we will feel like we're missing something. Just like now, if you leave your phone at home, you're like, how am I going to get by today? I don't have my phone with me, right? Or if the internet goes down, the whole office is like, well, yes, we can't work today, right? Soon AI is going to have similar levels of adoption. So in terms of AI adoption, quick question for those of you that are here, raise your hand if you are actively using AI in your business today. Okay, quite a few, a little over half of the group, maybe even 3/4 of the group. That's great. So you may see yourself somewhere on this adoption curve that we're going to walk through. Typically with AI, it starts with curiosity. Someone will, maybe log into ChatGPT and they kind of like poke it, right? They're like, what's it going to do? And they might ask it to tell them a joke or tell us a story or write a poem or something like that. Something that's very inconsequential. And generally, we have a pretty good experience with that. We go, wow, that joke was actually funny. Or that poem actually was pretty cool. And so we try it with something a little bit more consequential, but still personal in nature. Help me with a recipe. Help me understand something about maybe a news event that's going on in the world today or something like that, where it starts to get a little bit more serious in nature, but still personal. Then we start to use it as a utility. We start to ask it to do some things for us. Help me write an email. Help me understand this process, okay? And we start to use it slightly. As that adoption continues to happen, though, it becomes more and more of a habit. And this is the reason behind the name of our company, Thynk. Quite literally, people's mindset shifts. And they start to think about problems. They start to think about business. They start to think about processes differently than they did before. They think with AI differently than they thought without AI. It becomes more and more of a habit. And then eventually it becomes a process where we literally want to pull it into our workflows and have it be part of our process. And I'm sure that those of you that raised your hand a moment ago probably see yourself somewhere on this path. Maybe you're here at utility and you're trying to push your way up to habit, or maybe you're at habit trying to push your way to process. Some of you maybe have AI-centric businesses where it's built around AI and it is the process. And that may be where you're at today. So let's talk about two types of AI. Again, there's a lot of different AI in the world today. I was visiting with a couple of new friends over here that are doing more computer vision and machine learning type of AI. We're not going to talk about that today, but we are going to talk about generative AI versus agentic AI. Generative AI is what most of the world is first being introduced to when they think of AI. This is the ChatGPTs of the world, or the LLMs, the large language models similar to ChatGPT. Agentic AI is what we are playing with at Thynk, and so we'll get into that in a little more detail. When we think about generative AI, I like to compare it to a game of tennis. We've got Wimbledon going on right now. Anybody watching any of the Wimbledon matches? Any tennis people? No tennis people. Okay, well, we're going to learn a little bit about tennis today. So when you do play tennis, right, it's hit the ball across the net, wait for the other player to do something, hit the ball back to you. And it's this back and forth type of interaction. And that's typically the type of interaction that we have with generative AI. We ask AI a question, it gives us a response. And sometimes it's just one time back and forth, and that's all we need, and now we move on with whatever we're doing. Other times it might be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth as we continue to refine and develop thoughts and ideas. But it is very much a back and forth type of process, okay? And so generative AI typically lives in this type of a workflow or this type of process within your business. You've got a process that you follow in your business. And what happens is you start to realize like, oh, I think I could use AI for this piece. And so we're working our way down our process. We hit the pause button. We go and we do something with AI. We copy the results, paste it into our process, and then our process continues. And that's a fantastic use case for AI. It's a good early adopter type of use case for AI. But what we're heading for is, actually, before I get to that, it's more of a rough draft use case, right? AI is not producing a final result, typically. It's more of a rough draft result. And we then go on and put a little more polish. we like to teach people a 10-80-10 approach. The first 10% is done by humans, right? We have to direct the AI what to do. We have to hit that first shot over the net, right? AI can do a large piece of it. They might do as much, the AI might do 80% of the work, and it might be some iterations back and forth, but eventually that comes back to the human, and then the human has to do the last 10%, where we put the final polish on, we make sure that it's ready for that final draft, okay? When we talk about agentic AI, this is slightly different. How many of you like football? I got a few more than the tennis at least, so that's good, right? Okay. Agentic AI is a little bit more like the quarterback in football, right? The quarterback is sent into the game and told, hey, we need to get a first down or we need to score a touchdown. Figure out how to make that happen. Now, they might have a play. They might have a plan that they're going to try and follow. But as soon as the ball is hiked, depending on what the defense does, that play could get blown up. They might have different options. They might pass it. They might hand it off. They might run it themselves. But that quarterback is going to start making decisions in terms of how to achieve the objective that they are trying to achieve, how to get that first down or how to score that touchdown. And so agentic AI is a little bit more involved where it is part of the process. The AI is built into the process and it's able to help determine the outcome and the path that is followed to get to that outcome. And that's similar to what we're doing with our agents at Thynk. So I'm going to need a volunteer. I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Eric. Anybody willing to be a volunteer? Not all? Come on up. All right, yeah, let's hear it for our volunteer. Thank you, welcome. Come on down. All right, what's your name?
Arian.
Arian, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming and joining us, Arian. So Aaron, I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Eric, in just a moment, okay? Eric is not real, although he does have a picture on our website, and we do have a bio for him. And we tend to talk about Eric as if he's a real person, but Eric is our AI agent, okay? And Eric is able to make and receive phone calls, send and receive text messages, send and receive emails. He can hold meetings, he can schedule meetings, he can manage our calendars. So there's a lot that Eric can do. And so we're going to have you have a little conversation with Eric and allow us to listen in. Is that okay? Okay. Now, I'm also going to show you what happens on the back end of our system as we do this. So first of all, Aaron, if I can just have you come over here and put your contact information in. And I'll block the cameras so that we don't see your personal information if you're worried about that. But what's going to happen is this. Oh, he's off, and it's off screen, so you're safe. So once Arian puts his information in, Eric is going to reach out to him. Eric's going to send him a text, give him a phone call. I'm not going to have you answer your phone at first. Let me just pull up your account here in our system. All right, so Aaron, here we can see up on the screen now that you got a text from Eric saying, hey, thanks for attending the Kiln presentation. Okay, so he knows you were here. This is great. He gave you a phone call, or it looks like he also sent you an email. Okay, but I want you to go ahead and respond to that text. Okay, so go ahead and respond, and you can say, can you tell me more, or whatever you want. Okay, so he just sent Eric a text back. In just a second, we're going to see that text pop in, and Eric becomes aware of that. Now, Eric could respond immediately. Okay, the technology is fast enough that he could respond instantly, but that would be a little bit of a strange workflow, right? If you're expecting to have a conversation with a human and that human responded instantaneously, that doesn't feel as natural. So we've programmed Eric to take a moment, process, and then respond. And so Eric now responded. It looks like he says, hey, glad to hear that. What specific are you interested in? And you could continue to go back and forth with Eric. And I'm not going to make you do that right now, Arian, but you could continue to have a conversation back and forth with Eric via text. And Eric, again, is like the quarterback in our football game, and he's been trained to do a couple of things. See, he's already doing his job. He is trained to help engage with those that may be interested in what we do at Thynk, and he's going to continue to work towards qualifying you as a potential sales target for us. And then once you've been qualified, he's going to try and get you scheduled. All right. But I think it might be fun if you had a conversation with Eric. Would that be okay? Now, it's a little tricky with the microphone. So I'm going to have you call Eric, and we'll be going back and forth between you and your phone and allowing everybody to kind of listen in on the conversation. So, yep, go ahead and call that number, put it on speakerphone.
Hello, this is Eric with Thynk AI. Can I ask who I'm speaking with?
Hey, yeah, this is Arian from Kilm. This is Arian from Kilm.
First rule of live demos is whatever can go wrong is going to go wrong, right? Eric?
Hey there. Just checking in to see if you're still with me. Let me know if you have any questions or need more information.
Yeah, I was just curious how AI can help me to save more time in my daily workflow. Breaker.
Breaker. Go ahead and hang up. Let's have you try calling him back real quick.
Oh, you just sent me a text on that. Let's try him again. Still nascent technology. Nascent technology at its best. Thank you. Now he doesn't like me anymore. He's not picking up.
Hello, this is Eric with Thynk AI. Can I ask who I'm speaking with?
Hey, Eric, this is Arian.
Well, apparently Eric is a little stage shy right now.
Yeah.
So typically,
on Eric.
we'll have to figure out why he's not talking to you. But typically, what Eric would do is have a conversation. You can have a seat, Arian. Thank you. He'll have a conversation with you, and he does deserve a round of applause, right? Now, I don't know why Eric wasn't working right there. I apologize. But typically, he'll have a conversation with you where he'll learn a little bit more about your business. He'll ask if you want to do a role play, and he'll actually then role play what it's like to have an agent working for your business. And he'll take those side as an agent for your business and allow you to play the role as a customer and help you to kind of see what that feels like. And then, assuming that goes well, he's going to then start to ask you questions to see if he can get you scheduled for a meeting with us. Did you have a question, sir? Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's very human-like. There's still a little bit of latency occasionally, a slight pause here and there, and that's getting better, and it will continue to improve. But the reality is yes, it's very good, and we often have people ask questions even midway through the call. Hey, am I talking to a human or is this AI? Right? We had one, in fact. Yeah. Well, here I'll let you hear. So we've got one on our website here that I'll see if we can hear.
That's great. Just I would like to confirm, you are a AI agent or the human?
I'm an AI agent designed to help you explore how our services can benefit your business.
That's fantastic. You are the great AI agent I have ever met.
Thank you so much. I'm here to help, and I appreciate your kind words. Looking forward to our meeting.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that particular caller was someone calling in from India, I think, if I remember correctly. And I realized it was a little quiet, but he said, are you AI or are you a human? And he said, I'm AI. He goes, oh my gosh, you're the greatest AI agent I've ever met. I don't know how many AI agents that person has met, but apparently he's met a bunch, and ours was the best. So we felt good about that. But the reality is, it's very human-like, very lifelike. And the thing that's interesting is Eric can communicate via text, email, usually phone. I don't know why he wasn't working for you today, Arian. I apologize. But he's able to weave bits and pieces of conversation from text into email and information he's gotten from email into voice. And so we had an instance a little bit ago where he was visiting with someone on the phone, and they, midway through the phone call, go, oh, gosh, I'm late for my kid's soccer game. I've got to run. Sorry, I got to go. and quickly ended the phone call. We've all had calls like that, right? You're in the groove, it's going well, and all of a sudden they're like, sorry, I've got a zip. So Eric reached out the next day via text and said, hey, I hope your kid's soccer game was a blast. Yesterday we were talking about this, this, and this. Is now a good time for us to pick the conversation back up? Got the person back on the phone and continue the conversation, right? Exactly right. Autonomously, proactively, on his own, just recognize like, hey, I need to reach back out to this person and continue the conversation, okay? And so a couple of other use cases that I'll just share with you quickly. So a couple of other use cases. We've got an e-commerce customer. They used their AI agent. Again, we give them names, so they like become like people almost. But they used their AI agent to reach out to 21,000 past customers. Right? They'd had all these customers that had purchased from them in the past that they hadn't done anything with since then. So they said, "Hey, can you call and text everybody and tell them about a promotion that we're running?" And so we had the AI agent reach out to them. And they sold an extra $150,000 worth of product as a result, right? We had a company that used AI to take their tier 1 customer support calls. They took those tier 1, had some domain expertise, repurposed them in other places within their business so that they could use that expertise. And they were able to take a team of 10 down to 2 and then repurpose those other 8 people within their business. And they're doing like double the business that they were before because of having domain expertise in other areas. We've got a health and wellness clinic that uses AI to schedule their appointments and give their customers 24/7 support. Their particular agent has been trained to understand all of the different health and wellness modalities that they deal with and provide light. We're careful, certainly in the healthcare world, but light advice and direction to their clients. So there's just a few of the use cases that some of our customers are using. Software company that uses agents with prospecting. This one's kind of interesting. They feed a list to their agents, say, hey, reach out to all of these people, and it just churns, right? Just calls, texts. And particularly on the sales side, it's interesting because most sales reps will quit reaching out to someone after about 3 or 4 attempts, right? If they don't get a response, they kind of give up after about 3 or 4 attempts. Statistically, most customers don't engage with the company until they've had about 12 touch points. And so there's this gap. And that's the beauty with these AI agents is they don't care. If you don't answer the phone, their feelings don't get hurt. If you don't respond to their email or your text, their feelings don't get hurt. They just continue to reach out and do their job. The first call of the day is just as good as the 100th call of the day or vice versa. And they just kind of churn and do their work. So we want to give you guys an opportunity here as members of Kiln to try this out if you're interested. And so if you want to scan the QR code or go to thinkai.kiln and put your information in, we're going to give you $500 off of a setup fee of an agent. And so feel free to grab that. I'll step out of the way for you guys over here. But then I wanted to take a moment and just open it up to questions. Alex, if you want to come up, Alex has got great domain expertise in AI as well. And so if you guys have AI questions for me or for Alex, we'd be happy to help take a few minutes of questions and then we'll wrap things up. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll give you the microphone too, just so we can.
Oh, thank you.
I have 2 questions. One is, at Thynk AI, do you primarily focus on those voice agents that you've been presenting, or is that like just one kind of use case that you see?
Yeah, that's our main focus is the AI agents, and it's communication agents, so voice, text, email, etc. We're working on a couple of other agents where we can produce essentially a personal assistant that can help with a lot of other things. That's not ready yet, but that's coming.
That's awesome. And then I found some similarities with OpenAI, like they're just voice feature. Like I think yours is still better, but I was curious if you're using that as a base to like build your agents, or if you're using like something that you. Yeah.
So we don't use OpenAI directly. We actually have a multitude of services running in the back end to make everything work. We do use a little bit of OpenAI with some of our texting responses,
I see.
but that's it.
Cool.
Another question over here.
So great demo. It was awesome. I'm curious.
Almost awesome. It would have
It
been
was-
a lot
it was
better if
good.
Eric worked. I don't know why it
Sounded
didn't
good.
work, but thank you.
So I noticed the CRM is Go High Level you guys are using. Can it be integrated to other CRMs or only Go High Level?
Yeah, it can be integrated with any system, almost any system. And so, yeah, we use High Level as a backend. It's our database backend. Customers receive that, and it's just kind of like thrown in. So if you need a CRM, it comes with the CRM. But if you're using HubSpot or Salesforce or anything else, it can be integrated directly there.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm just curious about sort of like the bandwidth of an agent. You mentioned one of the use cases was 21,000 customers over like a weekend sale. Does it make 21,000 calls or texts simultaneously, or is there like a certain number it can do at the same time?
Yeah, not quite simultaneously, but close. It can do about 100 calls a minute simultaneously. So it can churn through that pretty quickly.
We have a question in the back.
Question all the way in the back.
No, you're great. This is a lunch and learn, so questions are great.
I was just curious if this can integrate with other platforms and apps, such as like if you have a property management company and you're using Verbo or Airbnb, whatever, can it manage those conversations or does it have to be on your home?
No, it can integrate with other groups. We actually have a customer that we're working with that's like they're the largest owner of single family homes in the country. They've got 85,000 single family rental properties, and we're helping them with their service and repair calls. So yeah, we can integrate with other systems to help with that.
Great. Do we have any other questions? I might have a couple for you. If there's no more.
Please go ahead.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks for being here, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate
My pleasure.
it. Yeah. So I guess as part of our membership here, I know we want people to. We have so many different use cases, so many different companies that are here at Kiln. Look forward, maybe even like 1 or 2 years. Like, how many agents do you feel like a company is going to have, like as like kind of a standard practice?
Dozens or maybe much more.
Okay. Can you expand on that? Like, where do you feel like it's going to start?
Yeah, I mean, this is one small piece of what businesses do, right? The reality is that we can use agents to do a lot of things. We're working on some technology right now that will allow us to create personal assistant agents. And it may be one interface, but there's lots of agentic things happening in the background. But essentially, you could call your personal assistant and say, hey, I need to have you call this person, set up a lunch for next Tuesday or Wednesday, check flights for me for an upcoming trip. I want you to also, order flowers for my wife, and I want you to send emails to these people. And it'll just churn and do all of those things for you.
Great. Awesome. I guess when it comes to kind of uniquely here in Utah, maybe here in the Lehigh area, how do you feel like companies can best get their foot in, like with starting with agents and kind of get immersed more in this AI space?
Yeah, so I think first of all, we live in a really unique area. We live in a very tech-forward area. I've had the opportunity to travel all over the country and in many countries in the world, and Utah is unique. Places like Kiln are unique, where we've got people that are trying to do new things. You called us pioneers earlier. And that's not just the Lehigh Pioneers, the local high school. This is pioneers in whatever it is that you're doing in your jobs. There is an opportunity with AI right now to be able to take giant steps forward that you would not ever be able to do as a small, maybe solopreneur or small business, that's using a co-working space like this to be able to compete with some of the largest enterprises in the world. And so using that technology forward, mindset, combining it with tools that allow you to do things much faster and more efficiently than you ever would be, without, is going to allow people here to take, giant steps forward in terms of the businesses that they're working with.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. That's
Thanks,
all I have,
everybody.
John, Long,
Take
and Thynk AI. Feel free to hang out, mingle amongst yourselves, food and drink in the back here. Thank y'all for coming.